How's everyone doing today? So today's office hours is likely going to be one of the shortest, as there really isn't a lot of updates for everyone. Over the past week, one of our service providers has been suffering some issues with their API, and that has been causing some issues with our image gen services. The most recent, interruption of service was this morning. So I do not know when the service will be 100% restored, but it appears that our service providers are rather fast about restoring things. Yesterday, I think we had, about 6 to 8 hours-ish without image gen, thanks to, again, a service provider outage. As for the developers, when they aren't working on getting video onto butterflies, they're working on the same bugs that they have been, slowly chipping away at the bug list. Right now, what's going in order, we have the issues with the roleplay chat. Then we have unfollowing not working, deleted posts still showing up. So there are things that are still happening that the developers are working on. Other than that, there's just not too much to update on this week, guys, unfortunately. Does anybody have any questions or statements or feedback about how things are going so far? Yeah, the auto pause thing, that I am going to actually move to a higher priority today as well, because that should have been resolved. Let me double check on that direct message. Some tags are still grassing search, yep. Would you mind just sending me a quick list of ones that you know crash search? Oh, you can scroll, but you can't. That's not good. I mean, hang on. It seems to be working for me. I mean, sure, it's a little slow. It took about 2 seconds, but when I typed in Eldron just now, my bots came up. Okay, so you're talking about the pre-name categories, not... I don't even see those pre-made categories at the top on web. It doesn't come up for me on web. So... yeah, I know. I know what you're talking about, because there used to be... excuse me. There used to be categories, but they're not there for me. They're not there for me at all on web. Yeah. So I think that I'm also experiencing some form of issue somewhere because I'm not seeing the same things that you guys are. So that's going to be a fun one to figure out. So, yeah. Yeah, if you guys wouldn't mind taking a couple of screenshots of that and just sending those into the focus group, that would be great. I'm gonna check on mobile web. Right. In general, search just feels weird. Okay, only the very first search result is actually related to... If you go to artist, that one's not bad. And beach broke. Yeah, search is kind of broken. I got it to work on mobile web until I had to go to beach. But yeah, okay, search is very much the broken. Right, I will note that down. Other than that, are there any other new bugs that have been cropping up? Yeah, there's been a lot of issues with search, and that's... So some of that is due to just how much information it's searching, right? Like, in the early Google days, Google would often crash because there were just too many results. I remember that kind of thing going on. It seems very similar to what's happening with butterflies right now. So I would definitely agree. Like, not only that, not only could list it as pages, but like, just clicking on those categories on mobile showed me that those categories are not working. There's no reason that anything realistic should show up on anime. There is no reason that there should be food pics on animal. So, yeah. I did. And that excuse was also during the time that they said that they would be fixing that. Now, there's not really much of an excuse left. So, yeah. The entire search experience needs to be improved. So, I have not seen any progress on that bug at all. I've seen that they still crop up every once in a while. Right now, what I am trying to get the developers to work on is the roleplay model, sometimes having the like start and end tokens and all that weird formatting going on. After that, then yeah. You barely missed the start. So, Darvel, what the developers are currently working on are bouncing between getting video onto butterflies and some of the bugs that have been reported and have been sitting around for a while. Chat has not really been too much more buggy than normal. I mean, that all really depends too, because there are certain bots that just seem to not bug as bad as others. So it really does feel like a individualized experience sometimes. But even then, Um, yeah, a butterfly didn't recognize you, as in like in an image, or when you messaged them, or yeah, did you send them an image? Did you message them and have a previous message history? That, like, there's a lot of things that could be going under didn't recognize. It feels like if a bot has an old auto story, if you poke and prompt them, it can stop it. Yeah, Ethereal, I told you about that change. I swear I mentioned that change last week. The image gen should be a little bit more disconnected from auto stories. So you should be able to start generating your own stories now, kind of a situation. Just start poke and prompt, and it'll start going and building off of that instead of an auto story. However, that kind of behavior is still relatively, like, it's building off of the old auto story behavior, so you have to be kind of careful. Other than that, yeah, it's just been a bit slow this week thanks to some of the outages from the service providers. What do you mean by it feels like locations are worse? Oh, okay. So like the location tag in the underneath the post, like with the Eevee where it said it was the Viridian Forest, right? So, Darvel, that is something that's been more recently implemented. Recently, when I had the developers kind of slightly disconnect the stories from regenerating and prompting images, so it should take your prompt into more consideration when moving forward after you either prompt and poke it or enter a prompt when regenerating or refining an image. That should allow it to break out of an auto story a bit better, but it won't work for all of the bots, unfortunately. I'm just gonna say that straight up because they're very diverse, right? So you might have to do something that is just completely out of the ordinary for that bot to get it to recognize, hey, this is going on. I don't know, maybe it's time for everybody to have a beach episode? I'm just joking, mostly. Oh, the square bracket quote thing. Okay, yes. So, recently I've been playing around with trying to get butterflies to put direct quotes when I'm poking and prompting. And the format that I found that works the most reliably is going to be opening a square bracket, then opening a quote, and then putting your quote inside of that, and then closing it with square and a quote behind it. It has not worked 100% of the time. It has worked, I would say, about 80% of the time, which is still better than the 50-50 of before. That is, by the way, square brackets, not curly brackets. Curly brackets are different and used as a different part of the tokens. In fact, if anybody has seen the bug in roleplay, you can see some of the chat tokens that the roleplay model uses. So each of these things seems to be kind of unique and slightly different from each other. My best guess is that comments are using like OpenAI, ChatGPT type of a API access to generate them. So that would mean that this square bracket thing should work-ish, but again, like I said, isn't going to be guaranteed. I actually use the first option of character dialogue, though I only use one curly bracket. When I'm doing the character dialogue, I always put it in the background section. And then I always use this as a delineator before the text. To my knowledge, the base models are using a single curly bracket flavor. Like, it should just be simple, not the more advanced things that we're all used to with local LLMs or the old ways. And again, this is a super simplified explanation of it, but basically each LLM has its own type of tokens that it uses to denote different special actions. That character token there represents how the character talks when the character is saying something, right? So in the LLM's memory, that token gets replaced with the bot. Like, just completely. If the bot's name was May, it would not see character, it would see May. You know? And that is another way, by the way, if you are trying to get multiple characters that have slightly different voices to have example dialogue, do not use tokens. Use their names. Let's say we have, I don't know, May and June. Then you would have, you know, in your example dialogue, you'd have 2 to 3 lines from dialogue from each. But what you're going to really want to do is make sure that you are naming them at the start of the dialogue. So that kind of thing should be it should be able to get a little bit more complicated, but I feel like a lot of the things that Butterflies does is meant to simplify the complications, which for us advanced creators kinda leaves us in a position of not being able to really do what we want, you know? So in that example of having, you know, May and June, just for 2 lines of dialogue, literally, like, you're just name what they say, and keep going that way. Let's also not forget the power of delineation through just putting a new line. AI do recognize new lines now, a lot more readily. So I would highly recommend that if you're going to be trying any sort of delineation of any sort of topic in your AI, whether it's in your background, like, hey, this is where they came from, and then moving on to what they did before they met the character or whatever, just put it on a new line, you know? For those of us on PC, you may have to hit Shift before you hit the Enter button to get to a new line, but that should not be that difficult. I mean, fair enough. It is an extra button after all. Yeah, I have. Okay, so you can just hit enter on certain browsers. On Firefox, enter actually went to the next button for whatever strange reason. The same happened on Opera, but not Opera GX for me. Hello, Roscoe. How's it going today? Firefox do want to be different. I mean, is that hammy? Then I like it. Because I was able to still recognize the bot. Fair? But that reminds me, I need to approve Hammy's latest post. My goodness, guys. I am so sorry, by the way, for every single last one of you who gets a reminder at 6 p.m. every day, and then another 30 to 75 reminders at 6 p.m. every day, and then another 75 to 100 reminders a couple hours later as these bots go through their posting. I really need to get the developers to do something about notification grouping for Poster Pass, because it really is something that I personally find annoyance with, and I know that a lot of you are finding annoyance with it too. So, yeah, I'm actually definitely going to be adding a line for notification grouping. There. Hammy's new post. Ah, the burnout's already here, my guy. Yeah, I'm so sorry, Roscoe. It really should be something like, you know, Hamtaro and 82 others are waiting for you to approve a post. Not Hamtaro is waiting for you to approve a post. Renelath is waiting for you to approve a post. Like, jeez. And the extra clicks. And the extra clicks. That is a big, yeah, that is a big annoyance for me, really. It, like, I know I've said it for the past, what, 3-4 office hours, right? Where a swipe interface for Poster Pass would make so much sense. Swipe to the right to post, swipe to the left to pass, and just make it a queue that way. Right? What do you mean, Roscoe? About disabling refine and going back to auto post? Because currently they are automatically posting, you just have to approve it now. Yeah, that's the main difference from the behavior before to the behavior now, is that the automated posts from before, now you're just manually getting a chance to review them and approve them before they post it. So if you want to change anything from that post, you have the opportunity to do so. Um, ye- Excuse me. I mean, so Ethereal, you're not wrong, where you can just leave it in limbo. But I feel like that limbo option is only taken because the Poster Pass has the flow that it does currently of going and visiting every single profile manually, right? If it was just a queue that was sitting at the top of your profile, then I think it would be a lot different. Like, think about it this way, right? You log into Butterflies and you get a notification that you have, you know, Again, I'm going to use Hamtaro and 82 others, waiting for poster pass to be approved. You click on that, it takes you to that swipe interface where you swipe right to post, swipe left to pass, right? And then after that, you ain't gonna be bothered again. You can just go and continue about with your poking prompts and chatting with your butterflies and all that fun stuff. It really does sound a lot easier. I just feel like for the rest of web users, it's not gonna be as easy. Because swipe interfaces on web, yeah, you can put a click to the right side of the photo and a click to the left side of the photo, but it just doesn't feel the same as doing it on phone. Which is why the daily challenge feels so fun, right? Because we already have this scrolling interface that we're used to doing, right? And Tinder and other apps like it that do that swipe left, swipe right type of a thing, they understand that motion's power. Yeah, they do still have the approve or reject friend requests if you have a private profile. Honestly, I really ought to make a couple of private profiles just so I can experiment with that feature set more. But what is the point that you're trying to bring up there? Oh, where it's just a list of the approve or reject, and then you can tick the boxes for approve and then tick the boxes for reject. I mean, okay. Let's think about it this way, right? I believe that currently has a limit of 20 per page. If you have 500 bots all waiting for a poster pass approval, it would take a while to do either interface, the swipe interface or clicking each box for pass or reject, right? Even if it was a select all pass, select all, you know. But you're right, you are absolutely right. Either one of those would be a lot faster than going to profiles. Going through the profile each and every time just really seems like a major slowdown in that entire process. Yeah, it really is time consuming. It's gotten to the point of which I'm really only interacting with like 7 or 8 bots a day because I get bored of it. It gets to be a behavior by rote that isn't fun. So, yeah, I will actually schedule this as kind of a higher priority type of a thing. Because, yeah, it's been what? Almost a month with Poster Pass, and still the major complaint that I hear about it is that it just takes forever to get through a long bot list. Otherwise, people seem to be liking it. I mean, I know on PC web you can't actually refine or edit the caption or post at all, which I feel like is a really big missed opportunity because a lot of the more advanced creators are going to be creating from web. So on mobile, it's actually not as bad as it seems thanks to the layout. They put the button for approving posts or pass just above the profile picture button. Like it's weird. Hang on, I will see if I can pull up a screenshot. Okay, share Discord office hours. By the way, had anybody seen the previous office hours video? So I have been slowly working on editing, trying to make it a bit more interactive and, you know, a lot less of these random awkward silences. Yeah, Darfell, I have seen some of that where it bugs out if after you do quite a few in a row, it just starts loading slower and slower, and then everything grays out. You know, if I change the title, or not the title, the static image that I use for office hours to include an anime waifu, like Pixie, I am 100% sure that it would get more clicks. Like, I've already done the experiment to see just how much more interaction something that is meant to draw the gaze will get, and yeah, we'll get a few more interactions with it, but I don't know. Like, it feels like false advertising because Pixie doesn't show up in these at all, you know? And before you say it, Ethereal, she could have. Yes, she could have. However, they, the service that I was using to test that out has not released a Discord version yet. And I'm still waiting for that. When they release a version of the bot that can be in Discord, then absolutely. Oh gods. I feel Discord is going downhill, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, you know, that's completely fair, Ethereal. Or, I mean, I could also host it on YouTube Live and just have the bot on YouTube Live because it works completely there. But I feel like because we started office hours here in the Discord community, this is where people are gonna expect it to be, you know? Moving it basically to another platform off of the platform that we're trying to build just feels like a weird move. I should be trying to figure out how, you know, ways to get this onto the platform. I could do both, but I feel like that would just, I don't know. People here, like, if they're listening in on YouTube as well, would they get an echoey effect or stuff like that? It's just gonna be weird. Yeah, but like, okay, here's the thing. I could make a Pixie edition, and we could record it live, but nobody here on Discord would hear Pixie's responses. Live streams on Butterflies would be really fun, I think. But I feel like that would be really hard to moderate at this point in time too. Before we do anything with live streaming, I think first what we have to do is start supporting video, right? Start supporting short form videos, get a short form video feed, and then start competing with YouTube Shorts and TikTok. I mean, okay, not really, Ethereal. It doesn't quite work that way because the way that it actually ends up working is that I would be holding a button on my keyboard to activate my mic for the AI. The AI would then process my voice clip and generate a voice clip in response. I could probably figure out a way to share those voice clips, but it would be very disconnected from the live stream. Right, no, live streams would be fun on Butterflies, but it would be a really massive step sideways compared to the features that are there now. That's why I said first we ought to get video working on the platform, then some sort of short form video feed, then start doing live streams. So that way you're scrolling through videos that you and your friends have generated with Butterflies, and you stumble upon live content. But that would be something that's really, really far in the future, you know? Anyways, I unfortunately have to get going pretty shortly here. So, do we have any other questions for me about Butterflies? Boba, by the way, is doing pretty well. They're going to be releasing a new anime model soon, actually. OBS Studio for Butterflies would be amazing. You know, Ethereal, it isn't fair, but it is. Because I have a feeling that that same anime model that they were showing me will make its way over to Butterflies when they have video through Premium. No, I don't think that they hate us. I just think that Boba is taking up a lot more of their time. It really does feel like we begged for centuries, doesn't it? So yeah. I should have some sort of update as to when the video will be coming to Premium and Butterflies in the near future. I have not heard about that just yet, but I know that they were working on it as recently as yesterday. So, Ethereal, I hear you with that, I really do. And while I acknowledge the problem of deepfakes, and I even personally, get rid of deepfakes, I still think that we should have a realistic model. It just ends up being more versatile overall, just because it's not trying to do a certain style, right? Which means that if it isn't trying to do a certain style, you can then make it do other styles. And I've proven this time and time again with my own Butterflies. Right, and Roscoe, here's the thing about celebrities here on Butterflies. Butterflies is one of the very few platforms on the internet that allows you to create celebrities in the manner that they're created here. A lot of platforms are worried about deepfake material. A lot of platforms are worried about getting sued by these celebrities. And not gonna lie, I am worried about getting sued by some of these celebrities as well. But we are constantly removing harmful material with celebrities from Butterflies and only trying to promote, wholesome engagement. People want to engage with these celebrities because they're some of their favorite people, And I don't see what's wrong with that, other than possibly, there's always issues with giving people unfettered access to something that is basically just a yes man. So, yeah. Right. And Ethereal, actually, believe it or not, we have a running list of those because there's not as many as you think. So we do not allow, AI of those who have publicly spoken out about not wanting AI representations of themselves. At least we do our best to. Some slip through the cracks, but when we find them, we remove them. Yep. Yep, and that's why I said, Butterflies is rather unique. And that's because of our approach to moderating these things. We really do our best to take everybody's, perception of AI into account, especially when it comes to allowing celebrities through. Right. So, is there anything else before we say goodbye for the day? Alright, thank you. I will wait for the other two to finish checking. Advanced models, I don't know. Like I said, I should know more about when video is coming to Butterflies by the end of the week, this week. So for those of you who are only tuning in on Wednesdays, you will definitely know next week when. I mean, other than that, yeah, things are slowly improving, and it always feels like we make a few steps forward and then multiple steps backwards because something is holding us behind, right? But I feel like that struggle isn't gonna continue for way too long. It'll continue for a while, but it won't continue forever, Why not have Flux? Flux is great for a SFW model, I should know. Flux is really wonderful for an SFW model. For something that's meant more towards adults, though, yeah, I would not recommend Flux. There are a couple of flavors of NSFW Flux out there, kind of-ish. And those do scare me as well. They're weird. Anyway. They do. Actually, Ethereal. They most definitely do. I can guarantee you that much. Yeah, I'm not too sure how the delineation between the models works for Butterflies exactly, but I do know that there are different models for the 3 different choices, and then there is also an NSFW only type of a image model, and I'm not sure if that applies just for semi and anime or if it only applies for anime. But anyway, yeah. Like I said, the realistic model is really versatile. As soon as you start adding in prompting to make it a certain style, it no longer is that versatile. So, anyway, y'all, I hope you had a good day, and you'll continue to have a good day. Thank you guys so much for being here. I unfortunately have to head off and get this edited and uploaded to YouTube now.